Welcome to Young Gun, a podcast about Bryce Young and the Carolina Panthers. I am Dimitri Ravanos, a Bama grad. She is Lauren Brownlow, the biggest Panthers fan I know, and we are talking about the team with a spotlight on their new franchise quarterback. Lauren, on Christmas Eve, I feel like we were given the gift of the best Bryce Young performance we have seen all season long, despite the fact that the Panthers again come out on the losing end in this one.
Yeah, I think but it's like we talked about, right? All I've wanted was just for something positive to happen and for it to carry over, literally
Right.
from even within a series, even just like multiple plays in a row would be great. And so for them to, obviously neither performance was perfect, but for the last 2 weeks to kind of come back to back, and it's okay, now there's something potentially being built here. I don't know how sound the structure is. I don't know how long it's going to last before the Panthers topple it over or whatever, but right now it's okay, I see something positive being built. It's not just a waste of time over and over again for him to be out there playing. There's something positive happening.
Yeah, I mean, this was his first 300-yard passing performance of the year. He, I think, really turned it around from half one to half two. We will get into all of that in just a moment. First, though, we've got to tell you about our friends at Graffiti, 158 East Cedar Street in downtown Cary. Watch football with them each and every Sunday. 19 TVs, weekly prizes. You know about the axe throwing, and you know about the bourbon pour specials. Blanton's at $10, Eagle Rare, Angel's Envy, both at $9. McKenna 10-year, Heaven Hill 7-year, and Buffalo Trace, all at $8. Right now, it is as festive as it gets at Graffiti. Plus, they've got the menu changing all the time. The drinks, sure, they have your old standbys, but they have seasonal specials to really celebrate the time of year you are watching. Only a couple of full football Sundays left, so if you have not done so already, get to Graffiti, 158 East Cedar Street in downtown Cary. Lauren Brownlow, was Bryce too short this week?
No, and I don't even recall hearing it mentioned very much. Although obviously a little distracted watching a game on Christmas Eve, but still
sure. So I will tell you, and I texted you this. I was just getting over some bad whatever that has been passed from my son to my wife to me and now to our daughter, right? So I was sort of in and out of sleep through most of the first half. In the second half, Lauren, did I imagine that they did a little tush push with Bryce, showing he was indeed not too small to be used in that way as Frank Reich had believed?
Oh, I guess so, yeah. Well, Frank Reich believed a lot of things about Bryce Young. Seemingly that he should not be allowed to attempt an NFL pass beyond 15 yards beyond the line of scrimmage.
Well, he's got such a little arm.
It's just literally. It was sometimes it felt like Reich was calling plays for a quarterback that won a contest off the street.
Yeah, he was color 9. That's why he wears the number.
I mean, it's okay, no, that's not. That's, let him do something. Let him,
For sure. I mean, to me, this was the return of Bama Bryce to a certain extent. He looked really confident, even when drives ended not the way that he wanted them to, that the Panthers wanted them to. He wasn't hanging his head going back to the sideline the way we've seen. And maybe part of that is because it wasn't so many drives in a row piling up, where you're either punting or missing it on downs or whatever the case. But he looked confident, not only making throws, but coming off the field. And boy, and this is a good bridge to what I want to talk about next. He really seems to trust DJChark more these last couple of weeks. He is that is who he is looking for on the sideline now.
Well, Chark is playing really well, I think. I mean, and this is I'm sure this is a lot closer to the Chark that they were hoping to get.
Right.
It's so weird to not say Shark still. It
sure.
just is upsetting to my mouth when I say it. I'm just like, Shark. I want to say Shark. I can't. Okay, it's fine. Chark. That's a real thing. It's someone's name. I can say it. Anyway. Yeah. No, I mean, he's playing really well. He's helping out Bryce. And again, that's something we had not seen anyone other than Adam Thielen do for any consistent length of time that plays receiver for this team.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, it helps to have a guy helping make plays for you.
Mm-hmm. In the early days of this show, I told you that over the summer I was filling in on a radio station in South Carolina, and Mina Kimes came on with me, and I was talking to her specifically about Bryce Young's transition into the NFL. And she was very high on DJChark. She seemed to think that Chark by the end of the season could develop into his security blanket. I want to play for you what she said, because coming off of a 6-catch, 98-yard, 2-touchdown performance, I think we're starting to see what she saw in DJChark before the season began.
DJChark, he was out for a while in Detroit, missed a few games with injury, and I was just kind of going back and watching some of them, and his absence was really felt in that offense when he didn't play. He is, maybe earlier in his career, I think he was probably more hyped as kind of being that number one boundary receiver, but he still has enough speed to stretch the field. I think decent size as well. So he's actually a guy that I'm a little bit higher on maybe than the consensus right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if he becomes a reliable target for Bryce.
So a long way to go before he gets to where Thielen is in terms of the amount of times Bryce is looking for him. I think I just looked this up before we started recording. I think he has 30 receiving yards to go before he is even halfway to where Adam Thielen is. But it's clear that something clicked between those two in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, 100%. And look, as much as you might like Adam Thielen as a reliable target, I'm sure Bryce realized at some point too, just like the rest of us, that's great, but no one's scared of Adam Thielen getting past them, really, at this point.
I would argue going to Adam Thielen on the last throw of the game is what ends up costing the Panthers the game.
Yeah, I think that's probably true. I mean, again, I get why. He's the guy that's going to help you, and he's going to make catches for you. But now I think Chark, Chark is showing. I'm so sorry that he can help Bryce make those plays. And that's the thing. Look, let's be real. You can put a ball you can place it as perfectly as you want to as a quarterback. But there are some throws that the receiver is going to have to do a good amount of the work for you and with you. And if they don't do that, you're not you can throw it exactly where it's supposed to be on a sideline. NFL DBs are too good.
Yep.
And you can't do that. You've got to, the receiver has to help you. It just has to be a team effort. I hate to be cliche about it, but it just does. I mean, there are not that many receivers that can catch horribly thrown balls all the time. And there aren't that many quarterbacks that can just hope they have receivers that they can just place the ball carefully in their hands and it'll be fine. It doesn't work that way anymore. Not in today's NFL.
I want to get more into the idea of how this game ended in just a second. But first, I do want to tell everybody that we are on Origin Sports TV each and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. If you love this show, take the time to find Origin Sports and watch the episode there. We love our partnership with these guys. You have it. You just may not know it. Zumo, Roku, Samsung TV Plus, Amazon Freevee, they all have Origin Sports TV. And when you find it, you will find us there each and every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Lauren, if you are characterizing this game, are you calling this a Packers win or a Panthers loss?
I mean, it's still a Packers win. I'm not going to listen. We can understand this for what it is. We understand that this is a moral victory for them, quote unquote.
Sure.
And the reason it's a moral victory is because they had 23 points. We didn't know that was possible. What?
33.
Yeah. Sorry, 30. Yeah, we didn't know that was possible anymore. Excuse me. I thought I was getting greedy. That's right, exactly. But that's the moral victory part. This offense has been a sputtering tire fire for the entirety of the season. Literally, I watched that game, and my biggest takeaway was wow, I'm sorry, I can't see too well. Was that a functioning NFL offense that I saw? Because I hadn't seen that in a while.
Well, I texted you during the game and said, is this the medicine I'm on, or do we have 2 offensive touchdowns right now in a single half? It is something. And I don't want to say that, I don't want to focus on, oh gosh, they could have, but I do feel like we are going to overtime if they had worked the sideline on the last throw instead of going to Thielen over the middle. And I don't know if that is, a rookie hiccup of in that the worst possible time to forget the clock doesn't stop on first down in the NFL, or if that's a matter of this was my guy. He was the one I saw open the quickest.
And the defense is always going to give you the middle of the field. They just are in those situations. And so, like, that is the cliche. You take what the defense gives you and you have to hope for the best. Like, they weren't going to give him something on the sideline super easily. Maybe he just thought, we get a quick throw, we run up. And look, they almost got it. I was surprised with how quickly they got up there.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, literally by the time the ball hits the ground, we are debating, right, whether or not there was a second on the clock or not.
Another thing my parents pointed out.
What's that?
When's the last time the Panthers late in a game when they needed them had all their timeouts late?
Yeah,
it's been a while.
Agreed. This was a rare moment where I'm hoping the referees put a second back on the clock in order to give my team a chance to kick a field goal. Did not happen this time, unfortunately. I will tell you the one thing I was disappointed by in this game with the Panthers, and it's literally the only thing I was disappointed by, is this was the first time that I did not think the defense could get a stop on any drive.
I was going to say the buried lead here as we're talking about the offense, because this team is seemingly allergic to complimentary football at any given moment, right? Oh, now the offense is playing well. Well, now the defense stinks. Sorry. Just going to be the way it is. No, I mean, and it's been like a couple weeks in a row now with questionable performances by the defense. And obviously they've still had their moments. Like Derek Brown is still playing great. Frankie Louvu still playing really well. But like, as a whole, and especially their run defense, like that's a big concern. That was so good for so long, and now all of a sudden teams are just like running all over them. I don't know.
I told you it is Obi-Wan and Anakin. It is Darth Vader and Luke. It is Rey and Kylo Ren. Like the Panthers, much like the Force, will always be in perfect balance this season. And so when you're having an offensive breakout kind of game, when you're having an offensive breakout kind of game, the defense must be buried literally under the earth. In terms of their performance. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this show wherever it is you hear or watch it. It helps more people find this show. It's not just about liking and subscribing. It's also about singing the praises. So if you like what you hear, take time to leave a comment wherever that is, YouTube or your favorite podcast platform. It helps more people discover this show, Young Gun, as we wind down the first season. Lauren Brownlow, would you like to play a game?
Sure.
All right. You are, I think, the perfect contestant here because I need you to use two brains. I need you to use the brain of the single lady about the town. And I also need you to use
not about any town, just FYI.
In this exercise, I need you to be at least a little bit about the town. But more than that, Lauren,
okay,
I need you to.
So I'm going back to. Am I going to a hoe phase right now? Is that what's happening?
I mean, I don't want to go so far as to say hoe phase, but I do. I mean, look, it's
we're going hooked up that could turn into something more.
Yes.
All right, got it.
Yes.
Got it.
You are looking for something long term, but if things happen on night one, you're not going to judge yourself. You're an independent lady. Exactly. But I also need you to be protective. Think about this almost as if we are doing Tinder, not just for Lauren, but also for Lauren, and in this case, your metaphorical son, not your actual son. We are talking about what works in terms of a long-term commitment here, okay? We're going to play a little wide receiver Tinder. There are 4 receivers on the Panthers roster that are set to hit free agency. And none of them are superstars, right? Okay. But I do think they have some varying importance to what this offense is going to be moving forward. All right?
Yes.
So swiping right if you want to keep them around, swiping left if you are ready to get rid of them.
Got it.
All right. Number 1. We talked about him just a second ago. DJChark. Swiping right or swiping left?
Wait, right if you want to keep him?
Right if you want to keep him.
I'm swiping right.
Okay. Can I make the case for left, even though like you made your choice, but as your closest girlfriend and confidant, I feel like I must just. I think if they had a true alpha, DJChark would be as good of a complimentary piece as you could possibly have for BryceYoung. I worry that without a Steve Smith type on this roster, I worry that too much is going to be asked of Chark, not by Bryce, but by whoever the coaching staff is.
Yeah, I could see that potentially, but at the same time, he's the only one that's shown any reason for any defense to be scared of him at this point. So I'm fine with keeping for now.
Okay. Number 2, Laviska Shenault.
No. Left. Sorry.
I'm with you. I want to believe all the potential that people.
I like him. It's just
sure. But like, what are we? 4 years into your career now? Like, we're done with potential. Like,
right. If we're extending the metaphor a little bit, it is important too, right? Like, which receiver can I keep for the least amount of effort? I guess would be money in this case. Right. You know what I'm saying? Because like, hey, if this guy's like a jerk, but he's kind of fun and would be like a hookup buddy, like that's keeping him around for cheap. You know what I'm saying? Right. But if I have to like put time and effort and commitment into this person that's terrible, then no, I don't want to do that. You know what I mean? I don't know if that makes sense.
He's a boyfriend that writes amazing songs and is in a great band. And like, boy, that's awesome, but that's nothing to hang your hat on.
Objectively great songs or like songs he thinks are great?
No, objectively great songs. Like, he's got a lot of talent, but you are trusting everything to go right for that to mean something.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, but that does matter a little bit, you know, like what's it going to take to keep the person? Like, if I don't want to keep Chark if they're going to have to overpay either. Yeah. So to be clear, but Shenault, I think it's good to go bye and try something else.
Emir Smith-Marset.
I'm swiping right for now.
Okay.
Because I think they could probably keep him for reasonably cheap. Also, it's not nothing for the Panthers to have a punt returner that can do anything with the football. Literally, I'm grateful when they can catch it and not fumble. So for me to see him be a weapon as well, like I'm intrigued. I like the way they've kind of tried to like factor him into the offense here late in the year. I'm interested. I'm intrigued by him. I would be fine with them keeping him.
Yeah, I think Smith-Marset is the best case scenario of Laviska Shenault. That's why to me this is pretty easy. If you're keeping Smith-Marset,
yes, I would agree with that. If I'm choosing, I'm choosing Smith-Marset. Yeah.
All right. This is where you've got to think more parent than hookup here. Stephen Sullivan.
I'm fine. He's fine. I'm swiping left. I'm just not, I'm not moved.
Really? See, here's my argument for him is that Bryce seems to when Bryce finds him, it is always on third down. So I do have some, I don't know, there's something about that dude and that quarterback that seem to work well together.
I don't know that I would. I think my bigger issue, right, is, and no offense to Steven, who I'm sure is lovely and probably way better at football than his name would suggest. However, anytime I hear his name, I'm like, it's like a name generator made up a name for a receiver on this team, and I'm having to remember that he plays here.
Yeah,
the point is they have a lot of dudes like that on this team that are not very good at receiver, and I would love it if they could bring some new dudes in, and maybe they'll be a little better at receiver. That's all I'm saying.
No, I'm with you 100%. Also, by the way,
John Smith, maybe he's good.
I didn't realize Stephen Sullivan was a receiver. I thought he was one of the many tight ends that seem to appear each and every week.
It's sort of like the random Ian Thomas sightings that you're like, he is still here? Like, literally every time they say something about him playing or not playing, or they'll be like, oh, Ian Thomas now out with an injury. I'm like, where was he playing? I don't even see him.
Your comment about he does not have the name of a receiver. He does have the name of, like, someone tells you, oh, the best pub is Stephen Sullivan. And you find out that it's like at the bottom floor of an office building. Like, there's just no way that could
He's a linebacker.
He's
right?
Yeah, no, I think that's I think that's fair. Each and every Thursday we do the midweek talk through. It is a second episode of Young Gun each and every week where we talk about the game coming up, the game that was, and what we think for Bryce and the Panthers going forward. It is me and I hate to say expert because the last one was Joe Giglio. But it is someone offering an outside opinion on the Panthers. That episode comes out each and every Thursday. So don't forget to tune in for the midweek talk through. Speaking of Giglio, Lauren, he is not the only person in the last 3 weeks to say this. Are you hearing a lot of people start to talk about how much JimHarbaugh coaching the Panthers makes sense?
Oh my God.
I've heard this from 4 different people now. And Giglio is the one that I thought did the best job on the midweek talk through of explaining the reasons, but I'm not sure I'm totally buying the reasons. He said that in his eyes, this could be for Dave Tepper what Bill Parcells was for Jerry Jones. That moment of seeing that I don't have all the answers. I need somebody unimpeachable, because to go out and get Ben Johnson, who we know Tepper wants the most, or Brian Johnson from the Eagles, or Eric Bieniemy, or whoever, is still licensed for Dave Tepper to meddle. The team might be better off with somebody that is openly hostile and has receipts as the leader, with an owner like Dave Tepper.
That's an interesting counterpoint. However, here's the thing. Harbaugh goes wherever he feels like going. Harbaugh is not interested in building anything here long term. He's not. Literally, the year this turns around remotely and he gets a sniff of interest from anywhere else, he will be gone. We agree on that, right?
I think so. I'll be honest. I don't really understand the dynamics of that in the NFL as well as I do in college. But I hear you, and I don't think you're wrong.
Right. I mean, even if a college job opened up that he found, he is a flight risk at all times. He just is. Look, I mean, think about how many years, even at Michigan, every single year. Now, granted, there's usually always some kind of drama going on in the offseason, so maybe that plays into it. But at the same time, think about how often it comes up there. And he's got a great situation there. No one's firing him there. Right? But he has wanderlust. He always has. And I'm not saying that means that he couldn't come in and do some nice things in Carolina. But are you telling me that the moment a more attractive job opens up, he's not going to be out the door? Of course he is. He will be gone.
I would tell you what my bigger concern is than that is I don't think he is particularly interested in developing a guy like Bryce Young.
No,
I mean,
I don't think so either.
I think the reason he and Colin Kaepernick worked so well together was that Kaepernick was an elite athlete, right? And so Kaepernick could be a part of that rushing attack. I mean, look at what they do at Michigan with him calling the plays. That is a team that throws 21 times per game, I think I saw on average. I mean,
is it that many? Wow.
It's a very good point, Lauren Brownlow. Look, whatever gets the Panthers winning is great, but I don't think that you are investing in a franchise quarterback for him to just be handing the ball off to running backs that, let's be totally honest, both of them are pedestrian. I mean, I like Chuba as much as you like Chuba. He's not an elite running back. He's not a guy that I think you abandon whatever your investment plan was to then build things around. I think that if you bring in Jim Harbaugh, it tells you are going a very specific direction, and it may not be the direction that Scott Fitterer, Dave Tepper, anybody else thought they were going in. It is what Jim Harbaugh has decided you are doing now.
Right. There's that too. And then you mortgaged your future for Bryce. So what does that mean, that you're going to cut ties with Bryce already?
Right.
Then what is that telling this fan base?
Right. Exactly.
Well, why should any of us give a crap? Also, let's be real. Most of us don't like him that much.
Yeah. Agreed.
I mean, look, I like him in some ways. I appreciate him. I think he is a legit, a really good coach. I think he knows the game extremely well. Do I think he could come in and have some success there? Of course I do. I'm not an idiot. But do I also think he's a raging egomaniac? Yeah. Do I think that sometimes causes him to make bad decisions? Yeah, again, I sure do. And do I think that also means that he does not give a single shit about being in Charlotte and turning around the Carolina Panthers franchise in a meaningful way? Yeah, I believe that he does not care about those things. Correct. So I'm not saying that a coach has to care about those things fundamentally, but he's always going to be looking for the next big thing. I could see him being here a year and then going 500 and all of a sudden he's gone. And then what? Then what did you just do? Then you just got embarrassed in public again if you're David Tepper. I'm just putting that out there as a counterpoint. Because I'm not saying I disagree with the logic behind it.
Yeah.
But at the same time, what does that really solve for you in the long term? You're still looking at a lot of this. In my opinion, you're still going to be looking at a lot of the same issues.
We know last year, and we'll wrap here. We know last year that Dave Tepper reached out to Jay Glazer to ask him to sort of make contact with Sean Payton and figure out what that would take. The Broncos pried Payton out of, Saints' grasp for a single first-round pick. And think whatever you want about Payton. He had...
No, he can coach, but I can't stand. You want to talk about someone I cannot stand.
With you 100%. He has the face of a guy that John Taffer yells at on the first episode of Bar Rescue, or the first segment of an episode of Bar Rescue. He was a guy that won a Super Bowl, had established a culture. Like, that is probably the best guy that was out there on the market. It was for a single first-round pick. You don't have that this year, but if that was what an NFL franchise was willing to accept, say, next year's first-round pick for an established head coach, as a fan, would you be okay with them parting with that?
What first-round pick?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, if someone was willing to take the 2025 first-round pick for that, like, let's say for Mike Tomlin.
No.
Okay.
What? No.
I'm just putting it out there.
Coordinator. Don't give away more picks, for the love of God. This is why we don't have any hope, because we don't have any picks, right? So no. Like, I would rather see you hire. Please don't, no. And I like Mike Tomlin. I'm not saying I don't.
Yeah.
But you're going to ask me to be excited about the fact that you gave up our next 2 first-round picks now? I don't care if you have Vince Lombardi. I don't care who the damn coach is. You give away all our first-round picks, we're not winning